The Christmas tree lights reflected off my wine glass as I sat on the couch in my parents' living room, watching my family celebrate my sister's success. Sarah stood by the fireplace holding court. 31 years old, founder and CEO of Tech Health Solutions, currently valued at $42 million. She was showing everyone pictures on her phone. The new office space, her team of 35 employees, the feature in Forbes, 30 under 30. And this is our Series A celebration, Sarah said, swiping to a photo of champagne bottles and her executive team. $8.5 million in funding. Led by Apex Ventures. They see our vision for revolutionizing healthcare data management. Mom beamed. We're so proud of you, honey. All that hard work paying off. Dad raised his glass. To Sarah, the entrepreneur in the family. Everyone toasted. My brother-in-law Marcus. My aunt and uncle. My cousins. All of them celebrating Sarah's incredible achievement. I sipped my wine and said nothing. Tell them about the acquisition interest, Marcus urged. Sarah's eyes lit up. Okay, so this is still confidential, but 2 major healthcare companies have approached us about potential acquisition. We're talking 9 figures. With the series of funding, we're in perfect position to scale and either sell in 2 years or go for Series B and eventually IPO. More congratulations. More toasts. I was 34, 3 years older than Sarah. I worked in private equity, managing investment portfolios for high-net-worth individuals. My title was Senior Portfolio Director at Meridian Capital Group. I made $420,000 annually, plus bonuses that typically added another $200,000. My family thought I worked in finance doing something with stocks. Mom turned to me. Isn't it exciting, Jordan? Your sister's company is really taking off. It's impressive, I said truthfully. You must be so proud of her. I am. Sarah smiled at me. Thanks, Jordy. That means a lot coming from you. It was a warm moment. A sister acknowledging her sister. Then Mom ruined it. You know, Sarah's always been the ambitious one. The visionary. Mom's voice had that tone. The comparing tone. Some people are born leaders. Mom, Sarah said quietly. Don't. I'm just saying. Sarah saw a problem and built a solution. That takes courage. Not everyone has that. I set down my wine. I should probably head out. Early meeting tomorrow. On the day after Christmas? Dad frowned. Can't you take 1 day off? Your sister's here. Family's here. Markets don't stop for holidays. See, that's exactly what I mean. Mom stood up. Jordan, when are you going to do something meaningful? Your sister built a company. She's creating jobs. Changing healthcare. What are you doing? Moving numbers around on a spreadsheet. The room went quiet. I help clients manage their investments. That's not creating anything. That's not building anything. That's just maintaining. Mom sat next to Sarah. Your sister took a real risk. Put everything on the line. That's what success looks like. Sarah looked uncomfortable. Mom, Jordan has a good job. A safe job. Comfortable job. But when are you going to help your sister? Mom looked at me directly. She's building something revolutionary. Family supports family. You could invest. Offer connections. Something. I'm not really in a position to. Not in a position? You work in investment. You must know people who invest in startups. Why haven't you introduced Sarah to anyone? Dad nodded. Your mother's right. Sarah's out here changing the world and you're sitting on the sidelines. Stop being so self-centered. Help your sister. I looked at Sarah. She was staring at her phone, not meeting my eyes. You're right, I said quietly. I should be more helpful. Finally. Mom smiled. It's about time you supported your sister instead of just coasting through life. I stood. I'll think about how I can help. Thanks for dinner. I drove home through empty Christmas night streets, my hands tight on the wheel. The city was dark except for holiday lights in windows. Families inside celebrating together. My phone buzzed. Sarah, sorry about Mom. He gets intense. You know how she is. I didn't respond. Another text. But seriously, if you do know any investors or connections, I'd love intros. We're looking at Series B in 18 months. I turned off my phone. My apartment was quiet and dark. I poured another glass of wine and opened my laptop. Logged into my secure investment portal. Found the file labeled Apex Ventures Tech Health Solutions. Apex Ventures didn't exist. Not really. It was a shell company I'd created 2 years ago specifically to invest in Sarah's startup. The name was professional sounding, generic enough to blend in with real VC firms. The structure was complex enough that Sarah's lawyers had done due diligence and found nothing suspicious. Just another early-stage venture fund. Behind Apex Ventures was a web of LLCs and trusts, all ultimately controlled by me. I'd invested $8.5 million of my own money into Sarah's Series A round. Not because I was required to. Not because she'd asked me to. But because 2 years ago, Sarah's company had been weeks from bankruptcy. Her initial angel investors had pulled out. She'd maxed out credit cards, taken out personal loans, mortgaged her condo. I'd found out through Marcus, who'd mentioned it casually at a family barbecue. Sarah's stressed. The company's burning through cash and investors are getting cold feet. I'd looked into Tech Health Solutions. Read the pitch deck. Analyzed the financials. Talked to healthcare IT experts. The product was brilliant. The execution was solid. The market timing was perfect. Sarah just needed capital to bridge from proof of concept to scale. So I'd created Apex Ventures. Structured it as a Series A investment. Professional terms: standard equity stake, board observer seat. Made it look like Sarah had won over a prestigious VC firm. She'd never known her older sister was the investor saving her company. I'd done it anonymously because Sarah would never have accepted help from me. She'd built her entire identity around being the successful one, the entrepreneur, the risk taker. Accepting $8.5 million from her boring corporate sister would have destroyed that narrative. Better to let her think she'd earned it from strangers who believed in her vision. For 2 years I'd attended board meetings virtually, my identity hidden behind my attorney who represented Apex's interests. I'd watched Sarah's company grow from 8 employees to 35. From $200,000 in annual revenue to $4.2 million. From struggling startup to acquisition target. I'd made it all possible. And tonight I'd been told I was self-centered for not helping her. I pulled up my investment attorney's email. Daniel Chin had set up the Apex structure and handled all communication with Tech Health's board. I typed, Daniel. Effective immediately, I want to begin exit proceedings from Tech Health Solutions. Exercise our liquidation preference clause. I want complete withdrawal within 90 days. I stared at the email. My cursor hovered over send. $8.5 million. 2 years of support. Board guidance. Connections I'd made through my attorney that had brought Tech Health major clients. Healthcare systems that I'd quietly influenced through my professional network. All of it invisible. All of it unacknowledged. While being called self-centered. I hit send. Then I closed my laptop and finished my wine. January 2nd arrived with typical New Year dread. Back to work after the holidays, gym memberships purchased out of guilt, resolutions already fading. I got to my office at 7 a.m. Meridian Capital Group occupied 3 floors of a downtown high-rise. My office had a view of the river, walls lined with market data screens, a desk that cost more than most people's cars. I'd worked here for 9 years. Built a reputation as one of the best portfolio managers in the city. My clients trusted me with hundreds of millions in assets. I made them money consistently, smartly, without unnecessary risk. It was a good life. A successful life. Just not the kind of success my family recognized. Daniel called at 9:30. Jordan, I sent the withdrawal notice to Tech Health's board this morning. Their CFO called me within 20 minutes. What did he say? He's panicked. Said this could trigger covenants in their credit facility. That losing Apex's backing might spook other investors and clients. He's requesting an emergency board meeting. When? This afternoon. 3 o'clock. He's asking if Apex will send a representative to explain the decision. Tell them no. Just proceed with standard liquidation preference protocol. Jordan, they're going to fight this. Your investment agreement gives you priority over all other equity holders. If you force liquidation, you could take most of the company's liquid assets. That's what liquidation preference means. It could destroy the company. Then they should have built a company that could survive without my money. Daniel was quiet for a moment. All right, I'll handle it. But Jordan, Your sister's going to find out eventually. I know. I hung up and went back to work. Reviewed portfolio performance. Made some trades. Normal Tuesday activities. My personal phone rang at 2:47 p.m. Sir. I let it go to voicemail. She called again at 3:15. Then 3:52. Then 4:30. At 5:18 she texted, Jordan, I need to talk to you. It's urgent. Please call me. I didn't respond. At 6:03. Something's happening with my company. My investors are pulling out. I don't understand what's going on. Can you please just call me? At 7:22. Mom said you work in finance. Do you know anything about liquidation preferences? My CFO is freaking out. At 8:45. Jordan, please. I'm scared. The company might not survive this. I turned off my phone and went to the gym. Ran 6 miles on the treadmill, pushing hard, letting physical exhaustion drown out everything else. Wednesday morning, Daniel emailed. Tech Health's attorneys have requested mediation. They're offering to restructure your equity stake, convert it to debt, anything to avoid triggering the liquidation clause. Want to take a call? I wrote back, no mediation. Proceed as planned. My work phone rang. Meridian's receptionist. Ms. Mitchell, your sister is in the lobby. She doesn't have an appointment but says it's an emergency. Tell her I'm in meetings all day. She's quite upset. I'm sure she is. I'm still in meetings. 10 minutes later my cell phone rang from an unknown number. I answered out of curiosity. Jordan. Sarah's voice, thick with tears. Please don't hang up. I borrowed Marcus's phone because you weren't answering mine. I'm at work, Sarah. I know. I'm downstairs. They won't let me up. Jordan, please, I just need 5 minutes. Something's happening with my company and I'm trying to understand. You should talk to your CFO. I'm not involved in your company. But you work in finance. You understand this stuff. Apex Ventures is pulling their entire investment. $8.5 million. My CFO says it'll trigger a cascade. We'll lose our credit line. Other investors might pull out. Clients might back out of contracts. She was sobbing now. Jordan, I could lose everything. The company I spent 5 years building. Can you please just help me understand what's happening? Have you talked to Mom about it? What? Mom doesn't know anything about venture capital. Maybe she could help. She thinks family should support family, right? Silence. Then, what does Mom have to do with this? Nothing. Have to go, Sarah. Good luck with your company. I hung up. Blocked Marcus's number. Turned off my phone. Thursday morning brought an email from my mother. Sarah called me last night in tears. Something about her company losing investors. She said she tried to talk to you but you wouldn't help her. I don't understand what's happening but your sister needs you right now. This is a crisis. Please call her. I deleted it. Another email from Dad. Jordan, this is serious. Sarah's company is in trouble. Real trouble. She could lose everything she's worked for. Whatever's going on with you two, put it aside and help your sister. That's what family does. Deleted. Sarah tried calling from different numbers throughout the day. My work line, other phones I didn't recognize. I blocked them all. Daniel called at 3 p.m. The board meeting was brutal. Sarah's CFO presented 3 scenarios, all of them ending with the company either being acquired at a massive discount or filing for bankruptcy. They're begging for a 30-day extension to find replacement funding. Tell them no. Jordan, I've seen the books. Without your capital they have maybe 6 weeks of runway. They'll have to lay off most of the staff. Some of their biggest clients have clauses that let them exit contracts if the company's financial stability is in question. Not my problem. It's Sarah's company. Your sister's life work. My sister should have thought about that before letting our parents call me self-centered while I was literally funding her success. You're really going to let her lose everything? I'm going to let her face reality. That her company was never as stable as she thought. That her success was built on my support. That maybe she should have appreciated that instead of treating me like a lesser version of herself. Daniel sighed. I'll inform them. No extension. Friday afternoon my building's security called. Ms. Mitchell, there are 3 people in the lobby asking for you. Sarah Mitchell, Catherine Mitchell and Robert Mitchell. They say they're family. They don't have an appointment. They're refusing to leave. Should I call the police? I thought about it. Give me 5 minutes. I'll come down. I took the elevator to the lobby. My mother, father, and sister stood by the security desk. Mom looked furious. Dad looked confused. Sarah looked devastated. Jordan. Mom stepped forward. We need to talk. Now. I'm at work. I don't care. Your sister's company is collapsing and you're ignoring her calls. What is wrong with you? Nothing's wrong with me. I'm just busy. Too busy to help your own sister? Dad's voice rose. Sarah told us some investor is pulling out and destroying her company. You work in this industry. You must know people. Make some calls. Fix this. I looked at Sarah. How much time do you have? Before the company folds. 4 weeks. Maybe 5. Her voice was hollow. If I can't find replacement funding, I'll have to lay off everyone and sell assets to pay debts. Everything I built, gone. That's terrible. So help her. Mom practically shouted. Stop being so selfish and do something. Selfish. That's the second time you've used that word about me. Because it's true. Your sister's in crisis and you're standing there doing nothing. I'm standing here thinking about Christmas. About how you told me I was self-centered. How Dad said I should stop sitting on the sidelines. How you both said I needed to help Sarah instead of coasting through life. This is different. This is an emergency. Is it? I met Sarah's eyes. Tell me about Apex Ventures. She blinked. What? Your Series A investor. The one who gave you $8.5 million. Tell me about them. They're a venture capital firm. Based in Delaware. They specialize in healthcare IT investments. He was confused. Why? Did they have other investments? Other portfolio companies? I don't know. We dealt mostly with their legal team. Did you ever meet the partners? Face to face? No. Everything was through lawyers and video calls. Why does this matter? It matters because Apex Ventures doesn't exist. It's a shell company. An LLC structure created specifically to invest in your company. The color drained from her face. The $8.5 million didn't come from some prestigious VC firm that believed in your vision. It came from me. Mom gasped. Dad's mouth fell open. I created Apex Ventures 2 years ago when your company was weeks from bankruptcy. Structured the investment to look professional so you wouldn't know it was family money. Because you would never have accepted help from your boring, self-centered sister who just moves numbers around on spreadsheets. Sarah was shaking her head. That's not possible. The due diligence, the lawyers, the terms. We're all real. Professional. Standard Series A terms. I just happened to be the capital behind them. I pulled out my phone and showed her the investment documentation. That's my signature on the fund documents. My capital that saved your company. My connections that brought you 3 of your biggest healthcare system clients. Referrals I made through my network that you thought were your CFO's brilliant business development. Oh my God, Sarah whispered. For 2 years I've funded your success. Watched you build your company. Attended board meetings virtually. Provided guidance through attorneys. Made it all possible. I looked at my mother. While being told I was self-centered for not helping. Mom's face had gone white. So yes, I'm pulling my investment. Exercising my liquidation preference. Taking back my $8.5 million plus the equity appreciation. Which based on your last valuation is about $11 million now. Jordan, please, Sarah's voice broke. You have 4 weeks. Maybe you can find replacement funding. Maybe you can restructure. Maybe you'll lose everything. I shrugged. But that's not my problem. I'm self-centered, remember? I coast through life. I don't take real risks. I don't help family. We didn't know. Mom's voice was desperate. If we'd known it was you. You would have what? Appreciated it? Recognized my success. Treated my career as valid. I shook my head. You would have found some way to diminish it. To make it about Sarah's brilliance in attracting investment rather than my generosity in providing it. Dad found his voice. Jordan, we made a mistake. We're sorry. But you can't destroy your sister's company over hurt feelings. I'm not destroying anything. I'm simply no longer funding it. Isn't that what you wanted? For me to stop sitting on the sidelines? Well, I'm off the sidelines. I'm actively protecting my investment by exercising my legal rights to recover capital from a failing company. Failing. Sarah's voice cracked. It's only failing because you're pulling out. No, it's failing because it was never profitable enough to sustain itself. Your company has always operated at a loss, covered by my capital. I was the thing making it look successful. Without me, you're just a startup burning cash with no path to profitability. The truth hung in the air between us. I have to get back to work, I said. Security will see you out. I walked to the elevators. Behind me I heard Sarah sobbing, Mom protesting, Dad demanding I come back. The elevator doors closed on all of it. The weekend passed in surreal quiet. I turned off my phone. Ignored emails. Went for long runs. Cooked elaborate meals. Read books. Existed in a bubble away from family drama. Monday morning Daniel called. Sarah's attorneys have filed an emergency motion to halt the liquidation. They're claiming you're acting in bad faith, violating fiduciary duties to other shareholders. Will it work? No. Your investment agreement is ironclad. I made sure of that. But it'll delay things by a few weeks while it goes through the courts. Fine. Let them delay. The outcome won't change. Jordan, I have to tell you, people are starting to figure out who's behind Apex. Sarah's CFO has been digging. A reporter from TechCrunch called asking about Apex Ventures' other investments. This is going to come out. Let it come out. Your family. My family already knows. They showed up at my office Friday. How did that go? About as well as expected. Lots of crying and accusations. Mom thinks I'm being vindictive. Dad thinks I'm overreacting. Sarah thinks I'm destroying her life. Are you? Daniel's voice was careful. Destroying her life? I'm ending my financial support of a company that was never sustainable. If that destroys her life, maybe her life was built on a faulty foundation. That's cold. No, that's honest. Cold was being called self-centered while anonymously funding her success. Honest is letting everyone see the truth. The TechCrunch article published on Tuesday, mystery investor behind Tech Health Solutions revealed to be founder's sister. The story went viral in startup circles. Twitter exploded with hot takes. LinkedIn filled with think pieces about family investments and founder dynamics. Brutal but legal. Sister investor pulls $11 million from sister startup after being called self-centered. This is why you don't mix family and business. Imagine finding out your biggest investor was your sister the whole time. My phone, still off, was probably melting from messages. My work email had 247 unread messages by Tuesday afternoon. I ignored them all and focused on my actual job, managing my clients' portfolios. My boss called me into his office. Jordan, we need to talk about the situation with your sister. It's a private investment matter. That's all over tech news. It's affecting the firm's reputation. Clients are asking questions. Tell them it's a personal matter being handled through proper legal channels. He studied me. This isn't like you. You're usually so measured. I am being measured. I'm protecting an investment that's no longer viable. That's exactly what we teach our clients to do. By destroying your sister's company? By recovering capital from an unprofitable venture. If she were a stranger, nobody would question this decision. He couldn't argue with that. 3 weeks after I initiated withdrawal, Sarah's company announced massive layoffs. 27 of 35 employees. Office space downsized. Several major contracts lost. The tech press covered it as a cautionary tale. Tech Health Solutions crumbles after family investment drama. I felt nothing reading the articles. No guilt. No satisfaction. Just a strange emptiness. My cousin Rachel reached out via LinkedIn. Hey Jordan, I know things are complicated right now, but I wanted you to know. I get it. I saw how they treated you at Christmas. What you did for Sarah was incredibly generous. I'm sorry they couldn't see that. I wrote back, thanks Rachel. I appreciate it. She was the only family member who'd reached out with support instead of condemnation. 4 weeks after withdrawal proceedings began, Sarah requested a meeting. Through Daniel professionally. We met at a neutral law office. Conference room with a view of the city. Sarah sat across from me with her attorney. She looked terrible, hollow-eyed, gaunt, wearing sweatpants and a t-shirt instead of her usual polished professional look. I'll be brief, she said, her voice hoarse. I can't stop the liquidation. I know that. Your investment agreement is legal and clear. But I'm asking, sister to sister, for 30 days to wind down properly. Let me find buyers for the remaining assets. Help my employees find new jobs. Do this with dignity instead of complete destruction. I looked at her attorney. You support this request? From a pure legal standpoint, you have no obligation. From a practical standpoint, an orderly wind down would maximize asset recovery and minimize legal complications. I turned back to Sarah. Why should I give you 30 days? Because even if you hate me, those 27 people I had to lay off don't deserve to have this follow them. Because our remaining clients don't deserve to be stranded mid-contract. Because. Her voice broke. Because I'm asking. You're asking the self-centered sister who just coasts through life? She closed her eyes. I'm asking the sister who saved my company 2 years ago and never told me. Who believed in my vision when everyone else walked away. Who made my success possible and asked for nothing in return. Until I asked for basic respect. Then I was asking too much. You're right. You're absolutely right. I took you for granted. Mom and Dad took you for granted. We built this narrative where I was the successful one and you were just there. It was easier than acknowledging that you were succeeding in ways we didn't understand. I make $420,000 a year plus bonuses. I manage portfolios worth over $2 billion. I'm one of the best in my field. But none of that mattered because it wasn't visible. Wasn't flashy. Wasn't a startup that got written up in Forbes. I know. Do you? Because it took me pulling $11 million out of your company for you to even look at my career. To recognize that maybe I wasn't the failure in the family. Sarah was crying now. I looked up to you, Jordan. Growing up. You were smart, capable together. Then I started my company and suddenly I was the special one. The entrepreneur. The visionary. Then I liked it. Liked being the one everyone was proud of. I didn't want to share that spotlight. So you participated in making me invisible. Yes. She wiped her eyes. And I'm sorry. Truly deeply sorry. You deserved better. You deserve better. I stood. Walked to the window. The city stretched out below, millions of people living their lives, most of them invisible to each other. 30 days, I said without turning around. Orderly wind down. You help employees find jobs, transfer clients responsibly, sell assets at fair value. Any money recovered after my liquidation preference goes to remaining shareholders. Thank you, Sarah whispered. But Sarah, we're not sisters anymore. Not in any meaningful way. We're strangers who used to share a family. That's all we'll ever be now. Jordan. I'm done. With the drama. With the comparisons. With being the responsible one who funds everyone's dreams while being treated like I have none of my own. I turned to face her. I have dreams. I have success. I have a life I'm proud of. And I'm going to live it without needing validation from people who can't see me. Can we ever? No, we can't. Some things once broken don't heal. This is one of them. I left the conference room. Left the building. Went back to my office and my work and my life. The company wound down over the next 30 days. Sarah found a buyer for the core technology, a larger healthcare IT firm that acquired it for $3.2 million. After my liquidation preference, the remaining shareholders got about $300,000 to split. Sarah had to declare personal bankruptcy. Her equity, which she'd thought was worth millions, ended up worthless. The press covered it as a tragedy. Promising startup destroyed by family feud. I read the articles with detachment. They weren't wrong exactly. But they weren't right either. The startup wasn't destroyed by a family feud. It was destroyed by being fundamentally unprofitable and dependent on an investor who finally stopped supporting it. That investor happened to be family. But that didn't change the underlying reality. 6 months after the company closed, I got a letter from my mother. Handwritten, postmarked from their address. And I've spent 6 months trying to figure out what to say to you. Your father and I have been to therapy trying to understand what happened and our role in it. We failed you. As parents. As family. We made Sarah the golden child and you the responsible one. We celebrated her risks and dismissed your achievements. We took your quiet success for granted while praising Sarah's visible struggles. You gave Sarah $8.5 million. You saved her company. You made her success possible. And we called you self-centered. I don't expect forgiveness. I'm not sure I deserve it. But I want you to know that I see you now. I see your success. Your career. Your generosity. All the things I should have seen years ago. I'm sorry, Jordan. For everything. I read it twice. Then I put it in a drawer with the other letter I'd never responded to, the one from Sarah after the wind down, apologizing again and asking if we could rebuild. Maybe someday I'd respond. Maybe I wouldn't. For now I was focused on myself. My career. My life. Meridian had promoted me to managing director. I now oversaw a team of 15 analysts and managed portfolios worth over $3 billion. My bonus this year would be close to $500,000. I'd started dating someone, a doctor named Elena who understood demanding careers and didn't care about family drama. We were taking it slow, but it felt real. I'd bought a house. 3 bedrooms, a yard in a quiet neighborhood where nobody knew about startup failures or family feuds. I was happy. Genuinely happy. Not because I'd punished Sarah, but because I'd finally stopped accepting less than I deserved. My family had called me self-centered for not helping my sister. I'd been helping her for 2 years in secret at great personal cost. When I finally prioritized my own well-being over their comfort, that's when they saw me clearly. Not as the self-centered one, but as the one who'd been holding everything together while being invisible. I'd learned an important lesson. Sometimes the most selfish thing you can do is stop being selfless. Sometimes the healthiest choice is walking away from people who only see you when you stop helping them. Sometimes family isn't worth the cost of admission. My sister had lost her company. My family had lost me. I'd gained myself. That felt like the right trade.